am not going to be pursuing my career interest in medicine. My goal this year is for me to create 56 videos on YouTube. In 2025, I'm prioritizing systems that are going to help me to be consistent. I'm looking at focusing on platforms that's not only going to help me to grow alone, but to build like a community. My name is Bella and I am in my 20s. I finished my house job, which is a compulsory internship that medical doctors always go for immediately they finish their schooling in Nigeria for you to get your permanent license. And I am not going to be pursuing my career interest in medicine, at least for now. So let me give you a little rundown of my story. While I was in medical school, I did a lot of businesses. I did about 7 businesses, which I failed at 6 or 7 of them, and I currently own one of the biggest online bookstores in Nigeria. I have like the dream life I want to create for myself, and sometimes I feel like medicine is not in it. When I was practicing as a medical doctor, I felt like I was overworked, I was underpaid, and also I wasn't even happy for majority of the time I was working as a medical doctor. Maybe that's also because I was at the lowest cadre in the medical practice. But then again, there are a lot of things that are going on in the medical sector that I don't even want to get into right now. So I decided that in 2025, I was going to take this year to pursue the dreams I have. And I'm going to be sharing with you what my 2025 game plan is and how I am going to achieve the dreams and the goals I had set for myself this year. And I believe that 2025 is going to be my best year, and I'm going to put in the work to ensure that I make these things come to pass. So in case I'm looking down, that's because I have my MacBook here and I'm going to be sharing the goals based off from what I have on my MacBook, right? So I have like 7 different categories of goals for 2025, and I'm going to be listing them. The first on the list is my health/fitness/travel goals. I have my spiritual goals. I have my financial goals. I have my business goals/career/academic goals, which is like the goals that has to do with like my business, Bella Books, are also the other business I'm thinking of starting this year, and another business I have in correlation with other people. Then also I have like my personal goal, which is like my personal brand, my YouTube, and my brand as a person, which is Bella Oloha as a brand. I also have my relationship goals and I have my spiritual goals, right? And then I also have like another category of goals. This is like which belongs to like a subgroup of goals, but I'm not going to be disclosing that with people in this video. So under my health goals, I'm not setting like a specific target in terms of like how much I want to weigh. Rather, I'm looking at prioritizing having a healthier lifestyle and looking after myself as a person. I'm being conscious of what I take into my body, because I mean my body is the temple of God. When it comes to health, you know that it's divided into 2 categories: what you take in and then how much you exercise. And funny enough, the diet that you take in consumes 80% of how you look outward, over like even doing exercise for 80%, right? So for the exercise, I'm starting with something that I can maintain. I don't want to start a habit that needs me to spend money or has a lot of resistance for me to do it. So for my goal this year, I'm going to be going for daily walks 3 times every week, and this is going to be like a 30 minutes walk early in the morning. And I discovered that when I go for my morning walks, I always end up being very energized, and it makes me very productive throughout the course of my day. Second on my list is my diet, and I've created a meal plan on what I'm going to take and how I'm going to reduce how much I take carbohydrates, how much I take like junk food, and go for more healthier options. Taking fruits every single day, drinking water. And I found that I have been drinking a lot of water because I have a water bottle, and that has really helped. So if you struggle with drinking water, I think buying a water bottle will help you take more water. Research actually shows that. In 2025, I'm prioritizing systems that are going to help me to be consistent over having like a dream body or dream targets, but rather things that will help me to live a healthier life and to make my goals come true and to make them a consistent routine, as against just like a 75-day hard, 75-day soft, or 75-day medium. Next on my list is my business goals. So I set like really audacious goals for my business in 2024, and we ended up accomplishing that and hitting the target that we had. So this year for my business Bella Books, I have set like big goals, and the goals are not just about like how much money we want to make. I set goals on different categories in the sense of the new products I want us to stock, the new products I want to work on as a person, to diversify the kind of things that we sell. I'm also prioritizing community building in 2025 for my business Bella Books, where we get to engage with our customers via emails, creating content that they can relate to, and so far it's been going very, very well. Next up, I also have like, quarterly targets I set for my business. I have monthly targets I set for my business, and this year I took it a top notch higher. And taking it a top notch higher, I had to ask myself, so what are the things I need to put in place for me to be able to hit this target? Some of them include, if I'm saying I want to make 2 million naira from my business this month, it means I have to have stock of more than 2 million naira for me to be able to make 2 million naira. 2 million naira. I can't say I want to make 2 million naira and then the inventory I have is only inventory worth like 500k. It's not going to work. Prioritizing planning my inventory and having like an inventory plan for the year, for the quarter, to know the products I'm going to be prioritizing, which products are moving faster, which products are not moving faster. Also, I have grown my team to like a team of 10 members that work with my business. I'm looking at everybody putting in their A game. So therefore, it has led to us having like, bi-weekly meetings in the business where we review what we are doing, what are we not doing well, are we on track to our targets, what are the mistakes, what do we need to correct, what areas do we need to put more focus on, what products are customers asking for that we don't have that we can look at sourcing. Also, I realized that last year I introduced like stationery into my business, and that's also generated a lot of revenue for my business. So I'm looking at diversifying more beyond just the things we are offering now to like offering more things for our customers. I have a goal to launch a business that is not going to be directly affiliated to me, a business that can function in my own absence where I just get like my returns. It's a very, very big investment and one that I've been thinking about, I've been praying about, but I know that if it works out very, very well, I know it's going to literally change a lot of things for me where I can get that income, but I don't have to like, unlike with Bella Books, I have to put in a lot of effort. I'm involved in every single process of the business, but this one I'm not going to be involved in every single process of the business, and it can work without people even knowing that it belongs to me. So I'm looking at launching a new business. Then also I also have another business I also opened with like a group of people, and we're looking to like really expand and do like other big things with it. So while Bella Books is going to be like the business that people know me for, I'm looking at like diversifying into other businesses, other investments that would also bring in revenue, but that is not directly linked up with me having to work for me to make money from it. Looking at taking courses on writing and storytelling, and as well also putting it into practice and seeing how much that would also grow my skill set. I'm also looking at learning more about public speaking. I'm not shy as a person, neither do I have issues with speaking in public, but I feel like I can communicate my stories better. So I'm looking at also developing that skill too. I also have like a lot of things I'm working on in terms of like the business perspective, but I think I'm going to end it here and then let's move to the next one. The next goals I have is for my personal brand. For the longest time, I haven't taken my personal brand seriously, which is Bella Oluoha. And this year, I've been on a consistency challenge in the month of March, and I grew from like 7,000 followers to like 8,000 and it was 8,150 or so followers right now on Instagram in the course of 2 weeks. I currently have like a very active community on Instagram. I mean, I know I've always had an active community on Instagram, but I haven't been putting in a lot of energy into it. But right now, I'm putting a lot of energy into my personal brand, into showing up daily or showing up consistently to see what I can build from there, right? In 2022, I launched an online course, which is the Accelerate Your Business online course for business owners. And currently, I have over 500 people who have bought that course and who has sent so many reviews, hundreds of reviews on how much that course has impacted their life. And I'm looking to launch more courses this year, launch more templates, launch more ebooks based on the experience I've had building my own business, Bella Books, that can also help like other small businesses to start, grow and scale their business. I mean, I grew my business from 10,000 naira my father borrowed me to like an 8-figure business. We are currently in 16 branches in Nigeria and the UK, and also we have a journal brand that have sold over 10,000 copies in print. So I know my onions, right? So I'm looking at like building my personal brand and sharing more. And since I've been consistent in 2025, because it's a goal for me this year, I've made 7 figures from my personal brand alone. Brands pay me now to to talk about them to my audience, and I even have less than 10,000 followers. I mean, also people pay for my one-on-one consultation. People pay to talk to me for 1 hour about their business. People buy my courses, my ebooks and all that. So I'm looking at expanding my offers this year and also looking at adding more things to my personal brand. The next goal I have is that this year I'm not focused on like the YouTube algorithm in terms of like, oh, I want to hit 10k followers on YouTube, I want to hit 20k followers on YouTube. Rather, my goal this year is for me to create 56 videos on YouTube this year, and hopefully by the time I get to like the 56th video, I definitely would be monetized and be earning actively on YouTube. So I'm looking to take YouTube very seriously this year, and I've been very consistent for the past 1 month since I set this goal for myself. And I'm looking to like, impact and share stories and share like educational content that would also directly or indirectly impact people, other small business owners or people who are also looking to grow their own brand. Next thing on my list is I have like a specific number of books I want to read this year. So this year I'm looking at reading at least 20 books this year that scales from fiction to business books, financial books, memoirs, and literally things that would help me build my vocabulary as a person and also make me more knowledgeable and learn things. This year, for every single time I have a challenge, I've been looking out for books that will help me solve that challenge, and it has been going super well. I've gone from like having zero idea about like a lot of things to now knowing how those things work, and even applying them in my own life and beginning to see results, right? Some of the books I'm going to be reading this year is books like I Am My Brand. I'm going to be reading Everything is Figureoutable again for the 10th time. I'm looking at reading Dream Count. I'm looking at reading Building a Brand Story, and also reading like other business books, which I'll share with you guys along the way. Next up, I have like skills I want to learn this year. Some of the skills I'm looking at learning this year is writing, to be a better writer, and I'm also looking at like starting my own newsletter where I share like weekly updates in my life. I really enjoy reading updates from Fisayo Longe, the owner of Kai Collective, where she tells us how her week went and basically the things that she's loving, the things that she learned, the mistakes and stuff like that. So I'm looking at replicating something like that in my newsletter where I share what I'm up to, what I like this week, what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I learned in my business, what I'm applying in my life to my own community. I'm building a community outside from social media for people who want to sign up to my email list to know what is going on in my life. And I know that the more I share my newsletter and write on my newsletter, I'm also going to be developing my writing skills, my storytelling skills, which I mentioned earlier on, and it's going to make me come out as a better writer, a better storyteller by the end of this year. I'm also looking at being very consistent on YouTube, on Instagram. For this year, I have like 3 platforms I'm going to be focusing on, and the platforms are Instagram, my YouTube, and my email list. I used to be very active on TikTok, but I think for now, TikTok might just take like a backstage. I'm looking at focusing on platforms that's not only going to help me to grow alone, but to build like a community. And my top focus remains YouTube, Instagram, and my email list. Rather than being overwhelmed and posting on like 5 different platforms, I'm looking at putting a laser focus on these 3 platforms, going on these 3 platforms, and then I can go ahead to like begin to diversify more if I choose to sometime in the future. Moving on to the next one, which is my relationship goals. So this year, I'm looking at being a better person this year in terms of like, being a better friend, being a better sister, being a better daughter to my parents, and showing up for my loved ones in as much capacity as I can show up, and also calling my friends and my family more often than I do, and just reaching out, because sometimes I can struggle with that, especially when I get overwhelmed, because I do a lot of things, right? So sometimes I can get overwhelmed and I can be so busy, and sometimes I'm not able to like reach out to my loved ones, or when they reach out to me I don't respond, and I'll say, oh, I'll call them later in the day, and then I end up forgetting, and then it seems as though I don't really care about them, whereas I really, really do love and care about all my friends and my loved ones. But anyway, I'm looking at changing that this year and being more consistent. Okay, next up on my relationship goals for this year, I am also looking at showing up more and putting myself out there to meet new people, make new friends. So for the longest time, I consider myself as someone that is friendly, but I think I struggle with like putting myself out there unless it's absolutely necessary for me to put myself out there. But this year, I'm looking at going to more networking events and also be open to discussing and having discussions with people without thinking too much about, oh, do I want the person to be my friend? Do I want the person to enter into my inner circle or not? But just be open to like, meeting new people, networking. And what will be. If people are meant to connect and become friends, you will. I mean, I have a friend of mine that is very close to me that I met on social media, and I met her for the first time last year, and I even spent some time in her house last year, and I just came back from her house again this year. Right, I met her on social media and we've gone ahead to become very good friends. Like, she's literally one of my G's, right? So I've come across like so many amazing people that I've met on social media that I built beautiful relationship with. So I'm very, very open to like, meeting more people on social media, even offline, online, and connecting with people generally. But of course, you have to be very careful too, and also be very smart to know who should be in your inner circle and who should not be in your inner circle. I think it's very, very important. I'm traveling more this year. I cannot tell you how much impact traveling has had in my life. Since I started traveling last year, October. I took my first trip last year, October, to Zanzibar and Nairobi, and it was a life-changing trip that ended up opening my eyes. I got like new experiences. I'm looking at traveling to at least 4 countries this year, 4 to 5 countries this year. So I've already done like 3 countries this year. This year I went on a West African tour with my sisters. We went to Ghana. From Ghana, we went to Togo, we went to Lome. I'm also looking at traveling to Qatar this year and looking at traveling to somewhere else. This year, I set a financial target for myself in terms of like how much money I want to invest. I'm investing in the stock market this year, and I had to like automate that because I realized that when I don't automate it, I end up forgetting, or I end up taking the money for something else instead of me to go and put the money into it. So I started strategy this year and it has been going pretty well. So at the beginning of every month, I invest with the Bamboo app. I invest in stock. I've been doing a lot of research on that. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. I watch people like XOReni. I watch like WizQueen, and I watch like a lot of people, even on TikTok, even on YouTube, on like, you know, the stocks to buy. Currently, I'm looking at investing more in like ETFs over like buying individual stocks, seeing that I'm just starting. And I wish I knew this in earlier on, and I was just investing earlier on. Second on my list, I also have like a set financial target on how much I want to save this year because I want to use it for something else. I also have like my financial goals for like different categories in my life. I'm not going to be discussing that in this video, unfortunately. Then the next up is I have set a target that every month I'm going to be reading at least 1 financial book every month and also listening to a financial podcast every month. So for the podcast, I've been listening to Netflix and Chill. Is it Netflix and Chill? I think it's Netflix and Chill. I'll attach it in this video by Vivian. She has like a podcast where she talks about finances. I've also been listening to Don't Go Broke Trying by XOReni. I listen to like Smart Money Woman in terms of like podcasts. This year I'm looking to read like Psychology of Money. I'm looking to read Richest Man in Babylon again. I'm also looking to read Think and Grow Rich, and also other like financial goals this year. These are the major goals I have for 2025, and I'm really, really optimistic that I would achieve these goals. And I'm going to show you guys the progress over time in terms of like what was I able to accomplish, what are the challenges I'm facing. And I really, really hope that by the end of this year, the dream Bella that I was seeing when I was setting these goals is the Bella I'm going to be seeing at the end of this year, right? I believe strongly in the power of planning because for the past like 3 years that I have actively been planning my year, I end up achieving like at least 80% of the goals I set for myself in the beginning of the year. And research shows that people who set goals are 40% more like people who even write. Like, let's not even talk about whether they plan to do it or not do it. Just by writing down the goals alone, you have 40% probability of achieving that goal over when you don't even write the goal down in the first place. So if you're thinking of, oh, should I write down my goal? Should I not write down my goal? This is your cue to do that. Last year, I achieved 90% of the goals I set for myself in 2024, including my travel goals, my financial goals, my academic goals, my business goals, and other goals I set for myself. In 2025, I'm looking at taking it a step higher in terms of like, you know, putting in all the work I need to see the results. And I'm also focusing on creating more systems to help me achieve the goal over being obsessed about the metrics, rather being obsessed about how consistent I am going to be to achieve these goals at the end of the day. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your loved ones if you learned anything from this video. And I hope this will encourage somebody out there to sit down and set your goal for 2025. It's not too late. I mean, I literally set my goals in the month of March, right? And that's because January is usually a very busy season for my business, because Bella Books, our peak seasons are usually like the holiday seasons and the end of the year periods. I didn't have time to like sit still to plan my goals. And February, I was traveling most of February, and I sat down in the month of March to plan my goal for 2025. So it's not too late. Whether you're watching this video in August, in September, in November, you can literally still sit down and plan the goals you have for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.